The Justin Robert Young program is brought to you by all the fine folks who go to the following website, payjurydaily.com. Hi, everybody. It's your old pal, Justin Robert Young. Justin Robert Young is my name, doing the show every single day. Hey, we've got some really fun stuff to talk about. This is a story that actually really touches my heart, because this is a franchise that is influential. We're going to talk about whether or not millennials are killing Hooters. But I want to begin this show by talking about all the presidential libraries that I spoke to today. And a very fun fact. Ladies and gentlemen, I called the presidential libraries for Rutherford B. Hayes, and Andrew Garfield. Was Andrew Wait. Is the actor the same name as the president, or did I just fuck that up? I know it's President Garfield. I don't have to look this up. James Garfield, not Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is the actor. James Garfield was our president. So I fucked that up. I thankfully did not fuck that up when I was on the phone with them. However, I will tell you this. Did you know that the libraries for Rutherford B. Hayes and James A. Garfield are only 30 minutes away on either side of Cleveland, Ohio? Can you believe it? Can you believe it that these presidential libraries are so close together? I mean, imagine that day. Man, you want to make a day out of it? You head down there, go down to the Rutherford B. Hayes Library. Blast. Having a great time. Can't contain how much you're learning, appreciating what it takes to become an American president. And then, you want to know what? Normally, that'd be enough. You go to any one of these libraries, you fill up on presidential appreciation and history, calling it a day. You want to know what? I'm going to go off, maybe have a late lunch, and then I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed at 4 p.m. because I'm so filled up with knowledge and appreciation of what it takes to lead a nation. Not if you're in the greater Cleveland area, because you can fuck right on up the road and go to the James A. Garfield Museum. Boom. Double-barreled. I got two libraries here, one here for the each of you. That's what you can do. I'm saying that you should do it, and I'm very excited to see whether or not they want to stock the Contender, which is why I'm calling all these people. All right, let's talk about Hooters, huh? What do you say we talk a little bit about the Hoots? I like Hooters. It always, to me, has kind of seemed to be it is a Florida brand. It was the pioneer of the restaurant trend. But here's the story. I read the news today. Oh, boy. TheFreshToast.com writing, Hooters pivoting brand because millennials don't like boobs. Boobs. Restaurants are having to rethink their strategy. Let's read this article real quick. You must admit millennials sure have to put in work ruining things. They've ruined business lunches, crowdfunding, cruises, the 9-to-5 workday, the golf industry, and so many more when they aren't eating all the avocado toast available in the world. But now millennials might be to blame for killing Hooters and other restaurants, because who doesn't love a good portmanteau? That's because millennials are less interested in chess than their elders, according to data compiled by Pornhub. Wait a minute. So you're telling me thefreshtoast.com. I thought I was going to make fun of this for being a shitty article. Turns out they put in their research. They went to the Pornhub. They went right to the source and said, you want to know what? We can show empirically that Pornhub visitors between the ages of 18 to 24 are 19% less likely to search for breasts when compared to all other age groups. Visitors between 55 and 64 are 17% more likely to succeed. And meanwhile, we connect that to this. The trend is causing restaurants to rethink their strategy. Hooters specifically has seen a 7% drop in restaurant locations from 2012 to 2016. In addition, industry reports indicate that their sales have stagnated despite efforts to appeal to millennials through new menu items. They've even pivoted from their typical approach of scantily clad women in the sports bar atmosphere and opened a new fast casual concept called Hooters, where it's about the wings, not the women. However, the verdict is out if the change will have any long-term effects. Pornhub Vice President Carrie Price said in an interview with Mel Magazine, could it be that millennials aren't into breasts because simply they like big butts and they cannot lie? It's not our job to speculate, but rather to provide compelling data for fans to digest and draw inferences from. Who knew that Pornhub would become like one of the most interesting brands in history, man? They are always... I applaud Pornhub's commitment to data science. But let's talk a little bit about Hooters. So there is no doubt that back in my day, it was certainly a lot more of a tantalizing idea to walk into a Hooters and see a bunch of although scantily clad might be pushing it. I never really thought of the Hooters waitresses as scantily clad. Like they're kind of wearing hot pants, but they have like the pantyhose on, right? So they're kind of like leggings. I guess, are they belly shirts at Hooters or are they tucked into the pants? I don't know. But certainly women with tig old bitties could often be found at these restaurants. And now you pull out your phone, you can see a DP, right? You can see any manner of crazy sexual depravity or sexual excitement that you could ever imagine right there on your phone. My biggest problem with Hooters is that their wings weren't really all that good. I think that's the biggest thing. Hooters could just use another wing thing. Although I wonder, I mean, can you do, if let's say, if we're to get ahead of this, right? The science is there. Data science is there. The young kids like a donk more than they like them titties. But can you open a butt-focused restaurant? Like, I just think that tends to be problematic because the butt involves other things that you don't also like to think of with food, right? Like, if you opened a Cheeks, then you're just opening yourself up to a million different, like, don't shit where you eat kind of comparisons. Like, you can't just, it just seems unwise, which is probably why it hasn't happened. Also, can we just talk about this millennials thing really quickly? Like, we're all aware that businesses have been failing for as long as commerce existed, right? Like, this is not a new thing. It's not like Y2K hit and then it was like, well, holy shit, guys, look at the spreadsheet. This business is failing. No one has ever taken up to the White House. President Bush is like, oh, holy shit. I've lived my entire life, and I've never seen a business fail. Ever. Every business that's been open has succeeded beyond our wildest dreams and has been open forever. Fuck, we gotta have a reason. What's the reason? 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 Millennials. 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 Millennials are killing the titty restaurant. Millennials are killing the Toys R Us. Millennials are killing everything. Millennials are killing everything. Millennials are killing everything. Millennials are killing everything. Nobody can stop the millennials. No one can stop the millennials. Ah, what's that? A millennial. Ah, now my business is dead. There's no way that this is just the greatest time for business failures ever. Literally, whenever you fail in life, failed a test, fuck, I guess millennials are killing my grade. Get dumped, well, I guess millennials are killing my social life. Although that might actually be true, depending on your age cohort or how young you like to date. Literally anything you do. Get cut off. Millennials are killing traffic etiquette. Let me know what you think millennials are killing. Or actually, no. Tell me. Don't speculate. Don't make a joke. Tell me something that you have failed at recently. And write it in our YouTube comments. YouTube.com/JustinRobertYoung. Or write into me, JuRYDaily@gmail.com. You tell me what millennials are killing for you personally. Let's go ahead and get into our emails. Of course, you can send them. JuRYDaily@gmail.com. Nick wrote in, my wife is a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, and here was her response to the Bianca Del Rio rape joke controversy. She thinks she's Don Rickles in a wig, but she's not, because Don Rickles had a line he wouldn't cross, and in comparison to Bianca, Don Rickles had class. My wife agreed with you on the subversive nature of drag humor and had the following clip to pass along as an example. In the clip, Trixie, seen speaking, is at a RuPaul-based roast and says the following thing about Latrice Royale, who is a black queen. Loving the Daily Show. Keep up the good work. So here is the clip that was sent along. This is, as I have now been informed, Trixie Mattel, a former winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, making a comment about a black queen, who I assume is also on stage.
You like to decide what to wear. It's just like a cotton. Latrice picked it. Oh, is that too far, Denver? What, did you forget to invite your black friends to?
So there we go. Okay. So, first and foremost, that is a slavery joke. Slavery joke. No way to slice it. It's a slavery joke. I'm not here to defend a slavery joke. Period. New paragraph. In fact, close document. Open new document. The history of roasts are traditionally something that involves very, 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 very rough and tumble, go where you shouldn't go kind of material. I think there's a reason why roast battles and celebrity roasts have become very popular as comedy is evolving, and there's a sense that certain things can or cannot be said. So I don't know the context there. I'm going to take a wild guess that there was something along those lines. Like I said last week, scientifically, I do think that there should, and I don't know if you can even find it, but theoretically there should be, well, a place for every joke, an ass for every seat, even the awful ones. Now, that's not to say that everywhere should be that. Not to say that, there is very certain audiences, and I do think that very offensive humor, more than anything, needs to come from a place of love and respect. It's weird. It's like you have to love somebody the most to say the worst thing about them, in my opinion. Which is, I think, oftentimes where roast comes from. Is that, I always used to be fascinated watching roast when I was a kid, because these comedians would get up there and just say the worst shit about each other. Just like not even fair. Like not even like, oh, you did a thing. Look at an embarrassing thing you did at one point. But literally just like, you're ugly and you're awful, or you're gay, or you're black, or you're this or you're that, right? There's always one of those, right? There's always some element of that. But then they would immediately, seemingly, at least to me, would come off as genuine to be like, hey, look, I love you like a brother. We're joined at the hip and we were separated, and now you're my life mate. You're my soulmate. I could never live a day without you. Blah, 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 blah. And I was always like, oh, wow, look. So this is an expression of intimacy, I guess, on some level. But drag queen humor continues to fascinate me, I have to say. Trent Reynolds wrote on the YouTube, George Carlin once said that you can't joke about rape. Rape's not funny. I say, fuck you. I think it's hilarious. How do you like that? I can prove to you that rape is funny. Picture Porky Pig raping Elmer Fudd. See? Why do you think they call him Porky, huh? I mean, to each their own. George Carlin is an absolute legend. But there's no guarantee to humor. Humor's not a static thing. Things that people found funny, you couldn't go back 300 years and have Richard Pryor walk out and do some of his funniest material and expect everybody to laugh. Humor changes. Society changes. Comedy is constantly about revealing the human condition, which is not static. So what is and isn't funny will always be different. But the good news is it'll probably be funny again. Just wait long enough. James wrote, so I'm just listening now to your show from Tuesday. Did the Tinder Hunger Games girl get rights released for the people that they filmed? If they didn't get rights released, they can't use the faces of those people. I know I wouldn't sign a release for something like this unless I was paid. Well, there's a couple things that they can do. In general, they can have blanket releases. I forget the exact term, but you'll see it a lot whenever you're shooting a thing at a bar or concert or something like that. You'll walk in and there'll just be a notice that says, this is being filmed. If you do not consent to being filmed, then you need to leave. Like, I've been in a crowd on stuff like that where you just walk in and you know that, like, I think there was a thing at Hood Slam not too long ago. So you give up consent walking into a place like that. But if you are on these things a lot, right? If you're really featured in it, then they'll probably ask you to sign a release, or they'll ask you to sign a release before they did it. That's if they were doing it for any kind of reality show. They might just be using it as a promotional thing for this girl. We don't know what that stunt was about. We don't know. Anonymous wrote in, I'm an asexual biromantic woman. And even though I'm ace, well, sometimes sex seems fun. So in the past, I've hooked up with people where we have communicated to each other that what we are doing is fun and will only be done in a safe environment with all parties consenting. If something makes you uncomfortable or you do not want to engage in something, you say so. The people I was hooking up with are not always available. So I was using a niche-focused dating app, and I put what I wanted was a casual encounter. I hooked up with a guy there before, so I started looking on it again. And last Thursday, I found a guy to hook up with. We had common interests, we were getting along, and we had sex. He stayed the night, which I didn't really want him to, but it was late, and he fell asleep right after, so I figured I would let him stay rather than kick him out into the dark. The next day, he said he wanted my number. Like an idiot, I gave it to him. And Friday night, he kept texting. He went out of town for the weekend, so we wouldn't be able to hook up soon, and I told him I was busy Friday night hanging with friends and couldn't really talk. But he kept texting and wanting to have a conversation, talk dirty, and talk about our next hookup. I was starting to not like this already, but when I got a text or two the rest of the weekend, I thought it would be all good. I picked him up from the Greyhound station when he got back Monday because he asked me to. We played video games and mostly kissed. I hate kissing, but whatever. I then tell him that I'm tired, and he says, well, we can go ahead and move to the bedroom then. He did not ask if he could stay over. I told him that I was tired and wanted to hang another time, and I dropped him off. He commented that I was not tired enough to drive him home. Yeah, I know. He says he wants to hang Tuesday. I told him I had a doctor's appointment, and I might be able to, but I was taking care of stuff. He called while I was at the doctor. I didn't answer, but texted him that I hadn't seen yet, and wasn't sure what my plans were, and that I was focusing on that visit right now. He texted a couple hours later and then kept texting. Then he called 5 times. I didn't read all of his texts. I saw I'm worried about you and decided and just replied, dude, you called me 5 times. Because this was just supposed to be a casual thing. I blocked him on my phone, and he then started messaging me in the dating app, and while blocked, still called my phone. It auto-rejected. He then starts to call me from another number, but his name shows up as an ID on that number, so I don't answer. I had to text my friend and tell her I was too scared to go home in case he might be there. I stayed with her until it had been 2 hours since he tried to contact me. He called me a total of 12 times, and this all happened yesterday. Jesus. Yeah. That's rough. And my advice is be direct. I would say, specifically if you're in the casual thing, it is a muscle you need to work out to be direct as possible. Thank you. I would not like to talk to you. Don't call me. We'll call you. That's about it for this week's JuRY Dailies. Thank you, everybody. If you would like to email me, it is jurydaily@gmail.com. Go ahead and leave those comments right there on the YouTube. You can find us at youtube.com/JustinRobertYoung. Our producers are The Jen, PD Rave, Nonspecific, Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, Will, and Bill Rudder. You can become a listed producer by heading over to payjurydaily.com. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Justin R. Young. And, of course, you can join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Folks, until Monday, this is your old pal, Justin Robert Young, reminding you to please give Mr. Wacky a round of applause. And please don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.